retired guys. You guys don't like, you guys like staying out of the mix, man. But I'm gonna get them here. I'm gonna get them here. Have you been enjoying retirement?
I have.
I am.
Yeah,
Okay. Well,
yeah.
look, we're gonna get into it. Greetings, welcome. This is Tim McCoy. This is another exciting episode of Bull City Bravest. Today I have the legendary, the incomparable, the man, the pioneer in many ways. We have retired Captain Terence Smith. A lot of people know him as Preacher Man, Rev, whatever you want to call him. But Terence Smith, let's give it up for Terence Smith today, just coming out here with us today.
Thank you so much.
How you doing, Captain?
Doing good.
I thank you for coming on.
Yes, it's a pleasure.
Like I said, you retired guys, man. Y'all disappear. Y'all get missing, but it's always great to have you, and I miss. And over there we got producer Patrick. Patrick, how you doing, man?
I'm doing fantastic. I hope you guys are doing all right. How do you feel about the new set? Are you guys feeling comfortable?
Man, I like it, man. It feels more spacious, man. I don't know why. It just feels more spacious. So we feel like an official podcast now with the podcast mics. So
Well, I watched your previous podcast, but I got nothing to compare it to. They look pretty good too. So for me, yes, it's nice.
well, look. Earlier when Rev first came in, Rev was telling us, look. I'm so used to calling you Rev.
Go ahead. It's all
I'm gonna try to call you by your proper title, but
No, it's
Rev,
all right.
Rev was in here. He made sure to mention of the last episode, and we, it's being Black History Month, and we're closing out here. We wanted to close it out with you, as one of the pioneering the departments. But you're gonna take us on a little Black history lesson, about the Freedom House, which there's a little debate on that, and
You were both right. The Freedom House, there was one in New York and there was one in Pittsburgh. But the one in Pittsburgh was one that teamed up with the Freedom House, which is like the Durham Rescue Mission now,
okay,
and Presbyterian Hospital,
okay,
which is where Dr. Peter Sarah, if you can remember Safari, Dr. Peter Sarah was there.
okay,
Or Dr. Sarah, depending on how you dot your I's and cross your T's. You
Right,
can call him
right,
either one.
right.
But he's the father of CPR. And he found these guys who couldn't get a job, and he basically showed them how to do CPR. And then he sent them out to the streets of Pittsburgh for the least of these, and they started saving lives.
okay.
Okay, that lasted from 1967. I was born in 69, so it started in 1967. It ended in 1975 when the mayor, he didn't like it. So he canceled the whole program, defunded the program, hired all whites, and got rid of the Freedom House as we know it. But that is why you saw on Emergency. You mentioned you saw it on Emergency. That's why Hollywood didn't like that. So they made sure that they gave them their shout out in that episode that you saw. I watched it. Anybody that's a fireman and grew up in the 80s, you watched. It came out in the 70s and 60s, but we all watched Emergency.
Emergency, yep.
Yeah, because there wasn't that many shows about
It's still-
firefighting, so
it's
we
still
all
in the
watched the
firehouse
same
today.
fire. Yeah, exactly.
Still watching the Firehouse today.
Yeah, it's still applicable to what we do today.
Yeah.
That's why you like it. Except for the Rampart part where you call in. We don't do that anymore like that. But they do call on the radio and talk to the emergency room, so it's sort of similar. But but that's the history of the Freedom House. The Freedom House really made a difference in terms of the time in which you arrived and what you could do to a person before you took them to the hospital. So they knew CPR in the hospital.
Right.
So Dr. Sarah, he wanted to put it out in the streets because he knew it would make a difference, and it did. And that is the father of what we call now modern EMS.
Now, you say it started in Pittsburgh and New York. Was New York like the second?
Yeah, you remember Presbyterian Hospital, the Presbyterians had hospitals all over the nation.
Okay.
So it was doing so well in Pittsburgh that they started one in New York. That's why when he Googled it, New York came. It depends on what you Google.
Okay.
But remember, Google is a blip. I want to tell you because y'all generation, y'all like y'all allergic to books in the library or something.
Look,
You know what I mean?
we talked about this last
Google is
episode.
just a blip. You got to go to the library and microfiche and really dive into history if you want to learn history. Like the Excelsior Ladder Company. You want to hit that next?
We can talk about all of it. So Excelsior Ladder Company, because we mentioned it, but you tell us the history. What you know.
Oh man, it's an extraordinary story.
right.
First of all, there's at City Hall Plaza on the right. There's a restaurant there now. They sell wine and pizza, and it's a brick oven place. In the front of it is now, I think the Masons have a headquarters there. But it used to be where we paid our Duke Power bills.
Okay.
It used to be
Talking about that big white building.
Yeah, but right behind it
Uh-huh.
is where the station was, but that's not where Excelsior was. You had to make a right and go down Street, there's a little mall there. I don't know if it's still there or not. I haven't been downtown in a minute, but there was a little section there. If you went down to Paris Street and made a right, that's where they were housed. They put them where they put the horses. Yeah, they gave them a cart that they weren't using, and they put them where they put the horses. But wait a minute, they didn't use the horses till they had been in operation about 10 years. They pushed that cart.
Pushed the cart?
Yes, you heard me. They pushed it down the street wherever they went. Now, we got to do a little education about the bottom. You've been here long enough to know what the bottom is, right?
To me, the bottom is that I know where the bottom's at.
Talk to me. What's the bottom?
The bottom is considered like the bottom of the going down towards. For me, I always thought it was going down Elizabeth Street. The bottom.
There you go.
There.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, okay.
Right.
So they stopped referring to it that way right about the time you got hired.
Okay.
I got hired in '94. So in '94, the narrative was that the bottom was simply the topography of the land on the right side of Roxborough Street, adjacent to the fire station.
Okay.
So it was referred to by us as the bottom, not as they said it wasn't derogatory. Its origins was the topography of the land. Mm-hmm. So you had Gray Avenue, you had Elizabeth Street, you had Canal Street.
Canal Street, yeah.
Yeah, you got all Dowd Street. All that's considered the bottom. The bottom. The bowl. If you're coming down Elizabeth Street, you can tell you go straight down. As soon as you hit Dowd Street, and then you come back up and you by Liberty. Okay. So they call that the bowl or the bottom.
Okay.
Now, whether or not it was derogatory or not, I don't know. So let's not rewrite history. It is what it is.
Okay.
But the bottom is what they were supposed to initially serve, and all they were was a ladder company. That means they had a couple of ladders on a cart, and their job was to get people out of buildings when they were on fire. There wasn't no firefighting involved in terms of, that's a myth. It was simply that's why they were called a hook and ladder company. They would hook the windows, open them, and get people out. They had no water. You didn't know that?
I did not.
Look at the picture. There's one picture of them. You seeing the water on that picture anywhere?
No, but
yeah,
I thought because they're a ladder company. Like, some departments, the ladder company is strictly just a truck with ladders.
I understand, but you got to understand this. You what you're doing is juxtaposing that on top of modern day firefighting. They were alone during a strictly racial time where blacks and whites didn't mingle at all. So they weren't an accompaniment to an engine. Okay. They were simply guys who responded by themselves. You follow me? But they did so well at it, by year 10, they no longer served the quote-unquote bottom. Now they're serving West Main Street and over here by what we know as Watts School and all of that. They start serving that, and that's where we get the real written history of them from. That's if any articles in the Herald Sun and all that are about store owners who praised them for coming in and helping them get out in time. You see what I mean? And here's the other part. They started out without a horse, but then they gave them 2 horses. Then they took the 2 horses back and gave them 2 mules. Now the problem with mules are, you can get a mule going, but it's hard to get a mule to stop. Yeah. See, I live out in the country now, and I grew up in the country. We use mules. You country boy too, right?
I'm not.
Sort of counter.
Yeah, kind of.
Your grandfather.
Yeah.
Did he tell you
Lee
that?
County.
Did he tell? Oh yeah, you country. Did they tell you that they would buy a mule for security?
Nah.
Yeah, primarily you got a mule on your property to protect your livestock, your chickens, from coyotes and bobcats.
Okay.
So there's videos, go to YouTube if you think I'm lying. You'll see how brutal a mule or a donkey can be as the security guard over the farm. But they're not really made to haul weight down. They can be, but they're ornery. They do what they want to do.
Okay.
But the beauty of it is, if the mule decided he didn't want to pull the cart, they're used to pushing it anyway. Well, the leader, his name was Wilson. This is another funny story. When they disbanded and decided they were going to go with a full fire department, now they lasted from 1881 to 1916.
That's a long time.
Yeah. People don't realize that either. They were in operation a long time. And during that time, the neighborhood, the community would bring them food. And they were sort of like heroes. They was always well dressed. And because they had to push that cart, they were in great shape. They were good looking dudes. Look at the picture. There's only one picture, but I'm sure there's more. But there's only one that we know of. That hook and ladder company was extraordinary.
Where they're all standing in front of it.
Yeah. Now, Mr. Wilson was allowed to hang out with the whites when the whites replaced them. They let Wilson, who was the leader, they didn't call them captains. They called them team leaders. He was a leader. He was like a horse whisperer. And since the horses went to Wilmington and to Raleigh, like for competitions, and Durham always won, because these black guys spent all that time. I told you, they didn't stay at the station at the corner of Mangum and City Hall Plaza.
They said the stables.
They went to the stables, and since they were at the stables, they became good with horses. Horses like read your. I have 2 horses. They can tell if I'm sad, if I'm happy. They follow me around the pasture, whether I ride them or not. They can hear your heartbeat. So they bonded with the horses. And Wilson was the best at it. So they kept him even after they got rid of everybody else in the Excelsior Ladder Company. They kept him. So he hung around. We don't know what happened to him. That's it. That's the end of the story. If I had more to tell you about him, I would. But that's all I have. Now, there's a book you can read, and those of you guys who are interested, by John Hope Franklin.
Okay.
People confuse the 2 books. It's From Slavery to Freedom, not Up From Slavery. That's Booker T. Washington. Okay. That's about segregation or desegregation. Uh-huh. But there's a book by John Hope Franklin who died, 2009, 2008, something like that.
Okay.
He was actually somebody you could talk to till he died. He wrote a book that explained the years between the end of slavery and when we really got a chance to do something. There was a 10-year period called Reconstruction where the federal troops were in the South.
Okay.
So that's when you had black congressmen and all that. But that didn't last long. The Klan came and took all that. That's when you get the Rosewoods and the Wilmington Massacre and all of that. That's when the troops withdrew.
Okay.
Yeah. There was a president, Rutherford B. Hayes, said, if y'all elect me, I'll pull the troops out. So he pulls the troops out, and that's when all that happens. The Excelsior Ladder Company comes after that. And then, at 1916, you go all the way to 1958 before they hire the 10.
Okay, hold on. Before we get to the 10.
That's a lot.
Just
I don't want to make your head explode, but that's a lot. Yeah.
Because there's a lot of history. It's never been explained to me in this way before. So, the Excelsior Hook and Ladder Company.
Correct.
All black ladder company.
Rescue truck is what they were. If you're going to be technical.
Rescue,
because
you're
a rescue
truck, whatever you want to call
you
it.
like the rescue truck, so yeah, they were a rescue truck. That's
yes.
your thing. I heard you say so.
Yeah, I love it. All right, so they started off as pushing the cart.
Right.
Right.
You can call it a wagon, a cart, whatever you want, but that's what it was.
So they did. That's how they started. But they got so good at their job because, again, no water.
Yeah, right.
Just palm pier ladders is what I'm assuming you're talking.
Whatever you see on that picture.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can use that picture as kind of a guide.
Okay.
Yeah.
So breaking windows, hooking windows, getting people out.
Getting people out, rescue.
They were good at it. That they extended their territory from just, which is known as the bottom.
Yeah. They didn't extend it. No, don't say extend it. They replaced the bottom with the west side of Durham.
Do they still serve?
No, they didn't serve that no more.
Oh, yeah. Okay. See, that's all.
Yeah, they still disenfranchised. They go from having some help to no help again.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now they're serving. Their service area changed.
Right. Their service area changed.
Okay.
To where Papa John's is and all of that over there in West Durham, there by Two's district.
Okay.
Where East Campus is now.
For those that don't know Durham, the layout of Durham, that's probably, I don't know, a good 5 miles difference between the two areas. So they went there, finally got horses.
Yes.
Then it went to mules.
Right. They took their horses back. Just say it like it was.
They took the horses, went to mules, and then what do you know what year they disbanded?
Yeah, 1916.
1916.
So from 1881 to 1916.
Now, did anything? I'm trying to think of it. I know Durham became paid in 1909. In 1916, was there?
Well, there's a transition period. See, people can say that, but it takes years. Just like the transition from the county joining us, there's a planning stage, and then there's a voting stage, and all of that. So yeah, technically, things have started working in 1909, but officially, they disbanded them in 1916.
Okay.
Yeah.
And no one knows what happened to those workers.
Nah, they didn't write stuff like that down.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't know.
But one guy did stay.
Yeah, they kept him around because he was good with the horse.
You said his name was what?
Wilson. Yeah.
Wilson, the horse whisperer.
The horse whisperer. Yeah.
All right. And so from there, you had the Durham Fire Department years and years ago, and then you have the original 10.
Yeah, let's talk about how that started.
Okay.
Mr. Merrick donated the land. Mr. Merrick is so Durham Tobacco has a big part to do with Station 4. Because Mr. Merrick is part of the Merrick family that teamed up with the Duke family.
Okay.
So the Dukes basically told him the same thing that Lyndon B. Johnson told Dr. King. I'll help you, but publicly you got to make me help you. So go out there and do what you need to do to force politically for me to do something. That's how he signed the Civil Rights Act. Dr. King went out and protested, marched, he did exactly what Lyndon B. Johnson told him to do. They were working together. Nobody knew it.
Okay.
And so when he was forced politically, it was easy for him then to get Congress to pass the bills, and he signed into law the Civil Rights Act.
Right.
But that's pretty much what happened with the Merricks and the Dukes. The Duke said, we'll loan you the money, but you got to prove to us that you can make some money doing this. That's how Black Wall Street got formed. The Dukes and cigarettes. The history of the Duke family is they used to sell cigarettes in big blocks. And what they did, one of the Duke guys went to Germany, and he found out that they could roll them like joints. I'm serious. And so now you can sell cigarettes in smaller increments and make more money. That's how the Dukes became so rich.
Okay.
So you got tobacco that drive Durham. You got American Tobacco. You got Liggett and Myers.
Town.
Tobacco Town. Exactly.
Yes.
The Dukes and the Merricks teamed up. That's how you get Hayti and all of that, Fayetteville Street and Hayti and all those businesses.
Okay.
The Merricks are key to that because they had access to the Dukes, and the Dukes said, "Hey, the only color we care about is green." You follow me?
Money rules the
North
world.
Carolina Mutual and all of that. So the Merrick family donated the land where Pico and Fayetteville Street is, the little block of land. Okay. So then they built a station. The original Station 4 is on McManus Street, where Station 5 is now. It was called McManus Street.
McManus Street.
Okay. So the idea was we just going to put another group of white guys at this station on Pico. But Mr. Merrick paid for the land. And Mr. Merrick said, nah, that's not going to happen. So they went back and forth because you don't have a whole lot of black people in politics. So they held it for 2 years. It was vacant.
So hold on.
Go back and let me give you some cross references before I cut you off.
Okay, go ahead.
If you listen to if you listen to the YouTube story from Chief King, George King, he tells you all this. It's all in there. It's a new video. He might have made it for him because it was shot here at ADME.
Did you make that, Patrick?
I did one with George King.
Yeah, that's the
did
one.
One maybe 3 or 4 years before that.
Okay,
so
well,
it's definitely one of those two.
One of those two. He's going to explain everything I just said. The Merricks gave him the land. It stayed vacant for 2 years, and they forced their hand. They said, "Well, it's time to integrate."
Now, for those that don't know, you talk about the Merricks. Can you explain? We talk about a lot of Durham history.
Yes.
The Hayti, Black Wall Street. Which,
Yes.
when people think about Black Wall Street, they think about Tulsa. But, Durham had his own Black Wall Street.
Yeah, but not all towns were burned down. Some of them were displaced. So the freeway came through Durham.
147.
So, yeah. You ever wondered why? You're a smart man, both of you guys. You ever been to the other side of town where Duke is, and you notice there's the VA hospital, then there's Duke, and there's all these high rises and all this money, and then there's a little bit of neighborhood called Crest Street.
Crest Street, yeah.
You know why it's there and it's still untouchable? Because of intimate domain. They moved Crest Street to the left and made the freeway come right through there. So they won't touch it now for a little while. Sooner or later they're going to get it, but right now they're not going to get it. Those people in there can have those little ranch-style houses with their little carports, and there's a community center and a church there.
Yeah, it's in the back of the neighborhood.
You never wondered why they built all around it, but they didn't touch this little pocket because they've already moved them once.
Okay.
To bring in the freeway. So not all the communities were destroyed by fire or anger. Some of them were destroyed by business. They just moved them.
Okay.
So Hayti used to come straight down where University Ford was, and now it's apartments there next to the ballpark.
Right.
All that area was Hayti.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it started at North Carolina Mutual. It ended at the Bells. The Bells brothers, one of their sons was a fireman, George Bell. So there was 2 gas stations. There's one at dead ends at Fayetteville Street. That's a Bell station. He's dead. And then there was the Amico, Bell's Amico, right down Lakewood. That's his brother. Those were the last 2 remnants of Hayti that was left. And then you got up the hill, North Carolina Mutual. But if you follow that in your mind and went all the way down, J.J. Henderson Towers, all of it is enveloped in the Black Wall Street. That's the remnants.
I didn't realize.
Yeah, that's the remnants of it. Yeah,
I didn't know it was so spread out.
Yes,
because you think about Hayti now, where the Hayti
community
is considered now. You think about Phoenix Square and that whole area.
So they forced their hand for Station 4 is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So now let's talk about this part about the greatness of the Durham Fire Department. It's why I loved it so much. You can't paint the narrative that all white folks were bad, man. That's wrong. Because look, there was so many white men that stood up and said enough's enough, including my first chief, Ronnie Rigsby.
Okay.
We kind of jumping around, but he helped assist in integrating. Now, it wasn't fun for George King because he had to go to number 2. But imagine you're a young firefighter. You don't care nothing about race. All you care about is fighting fire.
Right.
Like most young guys today, they want to fight fire. Right. There's a group of guys at 4 that's fighting all the fire by themselves, no help, but they getting all the fire. You over here at number 2. You ever work number 2?
I worked number 2.
Yeah, number 2 was the
station I
same.
came out of.
It was the same then as it is now. All you're gonna do is run for Duke all day. Imagine the young white guys that don't care nothing about race. They cool with everybody. They see them at the drill tower. And the N word is thrown out here and there by some idiots, but for the most part, they was coming around. They was like, man, this stuff got to stop. We want to fight some fire.
Right.
So they start putting people like Ronnie Rigsby and them over at Station 4.
Okay.
Now, they already had a driver and a captain originally because, they hired these guys off the street.
Right.
So you still had to have a couple of white guys.
So there was 2 people, two
guys that
supervised them, right?
Yeah, and the word went around. These guys are cool. They just like us.
Okay.
So the word got around from these 2. That was clever. The guy that trained them, if you watch that video from Chief King, he says it was supposed to take 30 days. It ended up taking 60 days, but it took half the time. It's because they were studying hard, working hard, and the guy that was training them, he made it easy for them. You see? So it cut the time in half that they trained, and immediately these guys start telling the guys, I heard this from Ronnie Rigsby's own mouth. They start telling the guys, hey man, these black guys are cool. They're good people. So that love always overcomes hate and ignorance.
The only thing that overcome hate is love.
There you go. So that's how the fire department got integrated. Now, they forced their hand to put the staff in that number 4.
Right.
So then McManus Street, which was going to be number 4, that ends up being Station 5 on Chapel Hill Street. So it all worked out in the end. But yeah, that's what happened. And so Ronnie Rigsby, he was always friends. Like when I first came on, these guys that you don't know that have passed away, they were all still alive. Velton Thompson was alive. Ellen Johnson was alive. Captain Harris was alive. John Lyons is still here. Chief Thompson was the chief. You follow me? George King was here. So they were all here. And whenever we had like a Durham Fire Association get together or a Bull City get together, Ronnie Rigsby was there. And they were like, hey, Ronnie, what's going on? You can't help but notice that.
Now, it was Ronnie Rigsby. He was a captain?
No, man, that was the colonel.
The colonel.
Chief Rigsby.
Okay.
Let's talk about how the battalions were set up.
Okay, let's talk about it.
Battalion 1 was at Station 2, and Battalion 2 was at Station 1. I'm gonna say that again.
That sounds backwards.
It is backwards, but that's how it was. When I got hired in 1994, Battalion 1 was at Station 2. That was Stations 2, 5, 7, 9, and 11. Battalion 2 was at Station 1. That was Stations 1, 3, 4, 6, 8, and 12. And 13 hadn't even been built yet. You got it. Ronnie Rigsby was my chief. The opposite chief was Luther Smith. He was on, that was B shift. C shift was Chief Beck. And Chief Don Hannon was on C shift. And then on A shift, you had Barry Yergin and you had Johnny Parton. There you had those were your bat chiefs. There was 6 of them. That's it. So but yeah, we could notice that when we got together, all the retired firefighters that they taught us about that we saw in the pictures, they were always cool with certain white guys. And the reason why is when they were young, our age, right? Mm-hmm. They broke that foolishness. Yeah, that red fire broke all that idiot stuff. Yeah. Them guys were like, forget that, man. I want to go to 4.
Yeah.
They didn't call it the Wabash Express. I heard that too. That didn't come from the old heads. If you look at that video, they call their truck Grandma.
What? Okay.
Yeah, this man, I'm blowing your head up.
Hey,
no. Get a fire extinguisher before his head pops open.
You got a lot of knowledge.
Yeah, you do.
They didn't call that fire.
It's good to have it on audio because it'll be something we can look back on. So
yeah,
this is great.
that foolishness with Wabash Express, that came from guys like, I don't know.
It was here when I got here. When I first got on,
it had to be. I'm gonna say the 80s.
Okay,
I'm gonna say that came around like in the 80s when public safety came back, and you had guys like Buster Broadhurst and Billy Williams. You had Possum, Captain Possum.
Yes.
And then there was H. Michael Crutchfield on my shift, and then on A shift it was Pereira and Lonnie Boone. Okay, you can interchange the firefighters because we always trying to get there to work. But those were your driving your captains. That's about the time they started calling it the Wabash Express because we went to McDougal Terrace all the time.
Okay.
But Chief King of them, they call it that.
They called it grandma.
They call him, yeah, it was an old jalopy, man. It was an open cab, and when it rained, they got soaking wet. It was a stick shift. I mean, you had to almost kick that thing to get it going. It wasn't no express. You don't call no truck like that express. That was the garbage that they gave them left over, something that didn't hardly run. And let's give while we talking about trucks, let's give our maintenance people some credit, because JW and this guy named Jimmy. You don't know, Jimmy was a little skinny guy. He was like JW's sidekick. They had a black guy working there named Warren. Man, they kept those trucks purring like kittens. But JW liked a specific truck and a specific engine. More so the engine than the truck. He liked the Detroit diesel 8V92TA engine.
That was very specific.
Everybody knows that one.
Yeah, that's what he liked, because he could work on them. And in the night, like 98, they deviated and got their Cummins. And they found out how good their Cummins was. Mm-hmm. They got 2 E1s. And the trucks used to trickle down. Let's talk that history. So all the new trucks went to 1 or 2. The truck at 1 or 2 went to 3 and 4. Truck at 3 and 4 went to 5. And you see what I'm saying? Uh-huh. Yeah. Now, the exception was the outline station. We call them outline. Today they're inner city, but they all had Fords.
What do you call?
Back then we called it 10. Not 9. 9 was kind of busy. 10, 11, 12, 6. Like 6 and 7 were Wardler Francis. 9, 10, 11, and 12 were all Fords. They didn't look modern. And they paid a lot of money for those trucks. But again, they had that 8V92TA Detroit diesel that JW liked. So they were dependable, but they looked old. Even when they were new, they looked old. And, you know, the guys that were truck guys, they didn't like that. Because, you know, uptown first they had Simon duplexes. That was 1 and 2. They moved them to 4 and 5. Then they got the Hush cab. Now, you remember the videos with Snoop Doggy Dogg smoking reefer and bouncing? That's how the Hush cab was. You get in the Hush cab and it would go boom, 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 and you bounce.
Bounce you everywhere.
They literally put weights on the front of that truck.
Okay.
To keep it from bouncing so much. It would go and it was long like a ladder truck. But it was roomy inside and you could sit forward, and we wanted to sit forward so we could see. You know, so we loved the trucks. Mm-hmm. They were quiet and like Cadillacs, man, compared to the other. Now the Simon duplex, the one they talk about at Ford, that was a cage in the back. You know, that was real short. You was in a closet trying to get dressed, and you sat backwards. They had a little flip down seat, but if Chief Bibby caught you sitting in that seat, you don't get some time off. Chief Bibby got many people for not putting their seatbelt on. That was his little pet peeve. So you had to be careful if you were on that Simon duplex. You had to look around before you sat in that jump seat. But you was just trying to sit forward so you could see.
So you could see what's going on.
Now the other trucks were Fords, except for 6 and 7, which were Wardler Francis. Now, Wardler France is like a Tonka fire truck. You remember the little Tonka truck you bought when you were young? You can't tear them up?
Yeah.
That's how the Wards were. They were tough. I mean, if you got hit with a Wardler France, the truck probably wouldn't get dented, but it's like hitting a train. Those Wardler Francis was tough, man. Yeah. But they weren't fun to ride on.
So, all right, so in like 27 minutes, we went through so much DFD history.
Right.
And you're a great orator. And people, like, you talk with so much emphasis.
Right.
You have so much history. I want to introduce the people to you real quick, if you mind.
Well, who don't know me? I'm the Harry Potter of the fire department. Everybody know me.
The Harry Potter. You, within the fire community, right? But we got people that are listening for the first time thinking about getting on the fire department.
Okay.
So I want to give them a proper introduction. So just tell them about yourself. You already mentioned your country, boy.
Yeah, I was born in Halifax County, North Carolina. My roots are Martinsville, Virginia. I've come full circle.
Okay.
Yeah. To start, to be technical, there were 7 brothers. 3 of them were gangsters. But my grandfather and Pharrell Hawkins, the famous guy that does the music, Pharrell, he and I share, our great-grandfathers were brothers.
Really?
Yes. Yeah, we're both Hawkins. And my grandfather migrated to Halifax County. His grandfather migrated up to Petersburg area.
Yeah.
And
you're talking Pharrell, like the guy that made the song "Happy."
Yes,
Pharrell Williams.
Yes.
So that's where your musical talents come from.
I guess so. It comes from our grandfathers were brothers. Our great grandfathers were brothers.
Get out of here. He's from Virginia, so it makes sense.
Yeah. So I'm in Caswell County now, and the land I bought is on a former slave plantation. And some of my relatives were on that plantation. And between my property and the next property is a plot of land that's a slave graveyard. And I can't help but wonder if some of my ancestors aren't buried there. So I literally have come full circle. But I came from Halifax County. I went to Elizabeth City State on a music scholarship, and the band director moved to Durham. He took me with him. I was like Nick Cannon.
What's your instrument
I was bad,
choice?
Boy. Music, drums.
Drums?
Yeah. But I met my wife, and I fell in love, and I didn't want to travel with the jazz band because I transferred to Central. Because he came, my music guy came to Central, so I followed him. And I met my wife. She's an honor student, and they wanted to put me in. The idea was they were going to justify my scholarship by letting me play for the jazz band. But man, they went all over the place, and I was poor. I needed a job. So long story short, my brother was already here. I got a job at Glaxo. We didn't shoot for McDonald's jobs, not at Central, not in the 90s. We went after Northern Telecom and IBM jobs.
Okay.
Yeah, we were trying to get paid.
Yeah, you're trying to get that money.
So I got a job at Glaxo cleaning labs. And this is my background. I came to Durham for that reason. My brother was already here. I followed him here. And how I got on with the fire department is because of my brother. I was supposed to pick him up at First Baptist Church right across the street from number 1. I ain't never known about you couldn't go by no fire station in Wayland. This advice y'all give people, well, go by a fire station and ingratiate yourself and make yourself known. We couldn't do that. Thank God they don't. All of them don't take that advice from y'all, man. What are y'all talking about? Tell the guys that don't have no experience, they got a good chance of getting hired too. And let me tell you something else. When you hear these guys talking about, I tried 4 or 5 times before I got on. They didn't know. They weren't hiring volunteers back then. If you told them you were a volunteer, they didn't hire you. They didn't know that though. So when you talk to Doug Sasser or Kelly McAlexander or even Sean Boone, and they said, man, I had experience. They don't realize that that was a mark against them for a minute. Until about 94, when they needed EMS and trained people, you had to go to the county then to get those guys, because that's where all your EMS guys are. So that's when they start back hiring people who had experience. So that would have been bad advice back then. You got to have something that it's great that you did what you did. But I didn't have that experience. And you got to have both sides to balance things out. I didn't have no fire. I never thought about being a fireman until I went to pick my brother up at the First Baptist Church. Remember now, admin is next door to number 1, right? The school admin building.
Yeah.
So they leased out for the buses an office at First Baptist Church. That's why I was over there to pick my brother. He was getting his last check from driving the bus. So when I went to get him, my car broke down. And Ralph Keaton, where the shed is now, on the Cleveland Street side of everybody know where the shed is.
Yeah.
It wasn't no shed there. Ralph was standing there smoking a cigarette like this.
Rest in peace, Captain.
Rest in peace, Captain Keaton. He said, "You having problems, son?" I said, "Oh yeah," because I couldn't get the car started. And this is what got me hooked on the fire department. He said, "Hey y'all, come down here and help this dude." And boom, the hatches on the pole start dropping, man, and here they come, boom, boom, boom. Like 4 guys come down there. They done raised my hood. They got crank it, bro. Turn it up. You'll be all right. They go get some gas and pour it in the carburetor. I had an old school Malibu where you poured the oil in the carburetor. Got me started, man. Said, don't be in a rush, son. Hold up. You know, because I was always ready to go. I said, thank you. I appreciate it. Hold up, man. Hold up. Let's talk to you a minute. So they told me about the fire service and all. They said, open houses tomorrow is the last day. And the rest is history.
Oh, that's ordained right there.
Yeah, that's how I got on.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Now, we didn't know at the time that our academy was controversial because we in the academy. All you know is you got hired. We didn't realize, we so dumb, we didn't realize it was 9 blacks, 4 girls, 10 whites, and it was diverse. We didn't know that. We didn't think like that. We were just people, all of us was just people trying to get a job. You know when we found out that we was controversial? We finished 13 weeks. We started on June 20th. We ended on September the 13th.
What year? What year is this?
1994.
94.
Yeah, because Travis told you about the academy. He said it was 13 weeks, but he didn't give you dates. By the way, I remember stuff like that because I have dyslexia. So I can't just look at stuff like you can. Words don't scramble, but the way I process information is different. So I have to memorize a lot of stuff. So I remember dates. Like, for example, we started on June 20th. We ended on September the 13th. Okay. We were 13 weeks. Okay. Right? And long story short, when we get out, there's an article that comes out in the Herald Sun. Chief Ruderson from Parkwood said that the only reason Travis got hired is because he was a young black man, because many young firefighters from Parkwood had tried to get on with Durham and couldn't. So that could be and Chief Hannon, this is when you find out the kind of people you work with. I didn't know who Chief Hannon was, but there was a lady for the Herald Sun named Cammy Michaels who was a fair lady. So if somebody did or made the fire department look bad, she'd always gave us a chance to give a rebuttal. So I don't know if Chief Hannon called her or she called him for the rebuttal, but he gave us, Chief Hannon is not your ordinary man. Intellectually, he killed him with one article, and he used reverse psychology on him. And that was the end of that. But that's how we found out.
Through an article.
Through an article in the Herald Sun that our academy was controversial. Now, I will say this, for those who don't like DI and all that, I'm not a politic kind of person. I don't really get into that. I trust the Lord in all that I do. You understand? Mm-hmm. So I don't do none of that.
Right.
Contrary to popular belief. Yeah. So, but I do know this. The 9 African Americans they hired, we gave the city. What's 9 times 30?
Yeah. 270.
Thank you, sir. That's how many years we gave them. Huh? Now, the females, only one stayed 30 years. That was Elaine, but we're going to count her 30. Okay? And then the other white guys, 6 of them, they gave years. I don't know how many, because I'm trying to remember now who's still. Wilkinson's still here, right, John Wilkinson?
He's retired now.
Okay, all right. Yeah. John gave 30. Creedmoor gave 30. Bruce Jacobs gave 30. Doug Sasser, he's still here?
He's retired too.
Okay, well, Doug gave 30. All of us gave that diversity paid off. The city got their money back 10 times over. All of us stayed, and all of us did well. You got captains, you got drivers, you got a chief in Bola.
Yep. Just retired.
You got the flower fund from me. You got the notifications when people are sick from me. You got a whole chaplain program.
You are a pioneer. We're gonna get it. We about to get into that.
I'm just saying, diversity pays off.
Yeah.
Whoever thinks it, and look, no, a spot doesn't belong to anybody. If you start with the premise that I'm white and the spot is mine and somebody took it, you're already skewed in your thinking. So if you're a white guy and you feel like you're being displaced in the fire department, don't fall for that. Look. They hire quality people, and they only have so many positions per academy. If you don't get on, do like Sean Boone. What did he say he did? He kept trying. And finally, he said, you know what? If I don't get on this time, I'm done. I believe him. But he kept trying. That's the point. Doug Sasser tried. You ask Kelly Mack, and I don't know who don't like Kelly Mack. Kelly Mack is one of the most quality guys you'll ever meet.
He's my driver for many years.
Yeah. And you don't find a more qualified, more professional, good-hearted person than K Mack.
Excellent driver.
He had to try several times before he got on. And let me tell you something else while we talking. Not about me, but some truths. Like EMS, I heard y'all mention that. You left off Randy Clemens.
Yeah. Chief Clemens at Redwood. I was just talking to him, and he said he started the program.
He did.
He said he started the program.
So he knows I know, because what happened was they didn't let him run it. They let him do all the research and all of the legwork. He probably told him how much, knowing him as thorough as he is and as brilliant as he is, he told him how much it costs, how much it was going to take to run it. And then they gave it to Chief McDonald, who I love. May he rest in peace.
Mm-hmm. That's my old.
Yeah, don't hate the player, hate the game. But he ended up running it, and Randy Clemens did all the work. So let's give Randy his credit. Also, with EMS, you can't talk about Durham EMS without talking about Scott Roberts. You know why?
Chief Roberts. Yeah.
Chief Roberts. He wasn't Chief Roberts then. He was HRS Roberts. See, there was 2 ways to captain. You could go relief driver, captain, or you could go relief driver, HRS. That's a hazardous response specialist.
Okay.
So you could be on the rescue truck or hazmat and go captain.
Okay.
So Fogg and his brother Fogg and him, they went HRS. Mm-hmm. So did Sean Boone and all those guys. They were HRS guys because we had to have rescue truck people. Right? And so Scott was working on A shift and teaching every day. On Saturdays, he was teaching. He taught all of us EMTI. There was something called EMTD back then. He taught us all that. He did all that teaching. Now, David Jacobs, he came later and took over. John Barnes helped out a lot. Those were your EMS guys that bridged the gap between the county and, because it was volatile when we started running EMS. You know that, right?
I heard.
Oh man, it was rough.
I heard.
Let's just not get into it. It was rough.
Right.
Yeah, the captains at the business stations were the ones they targeted. The county paramedics would target the captain at the business station because that's who they interacted with the most. So it would be the captains at 1, 3, and 4, you know?
Yeah.
And captains at 1, 3, and 4 didn't play. Because back then, you didn't get to number 1 and be a captain unless you was...
Cutthroat.
Yeah. So I came up under the Pascal years. Scrapper Pate was on B shift. He was famous for number 1. Because you had to do battalion chief jobs if you were at number 1.
Okay.
So he had gone to 12. He was about to retire. And I was fortunate to work with him. But I ended up driving for Pascal. And that's why I cut my teeth. Because Captain Pascal, as unassuming as he was, woo, that joker could fight some fire, boy. You hear me? It's a great day in the morning.
Let's take a pause real quick.
All right.
Before we get to you driving that one, you get out the academy. What assignments do you get?
I get the great Frank DeLucia.
Okay.
I go to number 6 with Frank DeLucia and Steve Smith and Mike Rose.
Okay.
They were typewriters, and they typed their reports. We was on the Wall of France, and Frank took me under his wing, and he was my father until he passed away. He's like my father at the firehouse. He told me, like if I got mad at somebody, they call Frank on me, man. And Frank would make me apologize to him.
Oh, Frank.
And by the way, I'm
cigar-
rev to every single person in the fire department except Frank. May he rest. Frank called me Terry. Not Terry, Terry. Because Terence in Italian, they call Terence as Terry. So my name was Terry. Terry, come here. Come here. What's this I hear about you and so-and-so? I said, I don't like him, Frank. He gets on my nerves. He said, he's a good guy. Go make peace with him. I was like, what did I say? Okay, Frank. He didn't get no argument. I had that kind of respect for him because he did so much for me. You know, He got me out of 6. You're going to like this story. We used to get tones on the radio. For every station, they had 2 unique tones. And I was so bored at 6 as a rookie, my first 6 months here, because I didn't run no calls. I memorized as a musician every tone. And I could tell Frank what was going to dispatch because the tones went out first, and then they say engine 1, engine 3, engine 5. I would say it's a fire because I didn't know streets yet. I said it's going to be a fire with engine 9, engine 2, and so on. So he said, how you know that? I said from the tones, because after about a week I had the tones memorized. Like 1 was C sharp to D. 2 was D. Station 2 was D to D flat. You understand what I mean?
That's
I
music
knew everyone.
air.
Yeah. But every station had tones, and the captain, the Greenway system was another system, so they could say, "Give me route 1," and the lights would turn green. You remember that? You were here for that, right?
Yeah, the Greenway.
So Fayetteville Street was 11 and 12, and basically the loop was 1 and 2, and then 3 was if you went Chapel Hill Street. So they had different things that they did different than that, but the tones were first, and then they would dispatch. But Frank got me out of there. The Chiefs would come by once in a blue moon. And when they came by, they would have stacks of paper because, they ain't been by in a while. So they bring
Drop
you
off the mail.
off the mail, yeah.
Yeah.
So then we went to a fax machine. So you stand by the fax machine at 6 o'clock and wait for the roster to tick out. Tick, 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 tick. And Chief Hannon, he innovated a different kind of matrix, because the matrix used to be a long list this way. But Chief Hannon picked this graph that you use, that you kind of drop and drag. And so as the computer got more sophisticated, that's what we started using. That's the roster y'all know today. And we used to wait for it to tick out, and you find out where you're going. That's how you found out transfers, who got promoted, everything came. We all stood around the fax machine about 6 o'clock, and you start ticking. Then that progressed to the computer that you know today. Yeah. Yeah.
So Frank got you out of 6. Where did you go?
I went to station 4 and got to put my gear in the middle of the station and ride 1, because they were renovating station 1. So I got to ride. I got moved to 4, but I rode engine 1 or engine 4. I put my gear in the middle of the street, in the middle of the bay, and whichever truck went out, I hopped on it for almost a year.
Oh man, I bet you caught some good.
Yeah, that's why I got the reputation of being, a go-getter. And I didn't do a whole lot of classes because I was tired when I went home. Yeah, I didn't start getting my classes until I got moved from there. But I knew opportunity when I saw it.
So how long were you at 4?
I stayed a year.
A year?
Then I got moved to ladder 1.
Ladder 1.
Mm-hmm. But before I left 4, this is amazing. Buster Broadhurst went to the mobile support truck, and they brought in a young whippersnapper at the time named Greg McGee. But not the one from Creedmoor.
Not Creedmoor?
No.
Oh, I'm thinking about.
There's another Greg McGee that's a legend here.
I don't know that.
Yeah, he went to the police department and became a detective.
Okay.
He taught me my release drive.
Okay.
And he realized I had that photographic memory. So he started teaching me not only my truck, like he said, engine 12 got these stats. Engine 12, the Grumman, the world's tallest ladder truck, it was ladder 1 at the time. I said engine, I meant ladder 12. Mm-hmm. It ended up being ladder 12 when I drove it. It was 8 feet 10 inches wide, 11 feet 9 inches high, and 45 feet long. I remember stuff like that. I don't know why I remember it, but I do.
That's amazing.
Yeah, we had to know it though, because there's very few trestles we could go under. And you should remember, they used to have a tape to the side of the steering wheel, all the bridges you couldn't go under.
Yeah,
because there's a couple that even today people go under and they got
the rescue truck now is probably the tallest truck we got, and they got routes they got to go.
Let's talk about that rescue truck for just a minute.
Okay.
Because I heard you say, and look, I'm not mad at you. I understand everybody's career takes them a certain way, but let me just ask you this.
All right.
You seem like a reasonable man. Was the rescue truck missing for a few years?
It was.
How can it be the most essential truck? Listen, all I'm arguing.
Did I say it's the most essential
you
truck?
You said it was the best truck in the city. I believe.
I said it was that's my opinion.
Okay, and you're not wrong.
And but I also said,
is it an irreplaceable truck?
I said the fire can't go out without the engine.
Yeah, the engine is the most essential truck.
It is.
Listen, everything else is to accentuate the engine. So rescue is to accentuate the engine, and the ladder truck is to assist the engine with ventilation. Correct. So you can do without you can't really do without a ladder truck these days. But an engine does have 48 feet of ground ladder. It has it'll pump 100% of its rated capacity at 150 psi. Right.
Right now,
and 500 gallons of water. Right.
Right.
So those stats must be in place to have an engine. You know why? Because you can't operate as a fire department without it. Now, ladder truck, you can do what you want on a ladder truck. You can have it 102 feet, 95 feet. I know because we had them. You can do what you want. You can load it up or you can strip it down. You can take it's not the truck, I guess is what I'm saying.
Right.
George Odell, you can put him on Rescue 1 or you can put him on Ladder 1. He's still George Odell. True. So is it the truck or is it the people? No. Carl Hamlin, you can take him right now. You can say, we're going to shut the rescue truck down and I'm going to put you on the engine. Would he not do the same thing? Yeah.
Yes and no. Yes and no. A firefighter is gonna be a firefighter, right? Mm-hmm. Here's the thing, though, and this will be my argument.
Go ahead.
And I'm not saying the rescue truck is more essential, but you do have the fire department has since advanced.
Yeah.
So our lane isn't just firefighting anymore.
That's true.
We advanced to EMS and firefighting, but we also got these specialties we're going into now, right? Mm-hmm. And you know, like I know, everybody ain't made to do everything.
Correct.
And you need people who are trained to do certain things, right? Mm-hmm. So just like the rescue truck is an essential truck, the hazmat truck is an essential truck. Because I don't know. I'm a hazmat technician. Yeah. But can I mitigate a hazmat situation like someone who's on a truck daily?
Yeah, hazmat doesn't inspire young people though. A hazmat is more intellectual. You look it up, you cross references and doing this and that. You know what I mean? You're working with chemicals and stuff.
Know some chemistry.
You got to understand that the rescue truck that I knew, it wasn't the nicest truck in the world. It would fly, it was fast, but some of the lights on it was on a stick, dude. On the fender. You seen it?
I seen the old rescue truck.
Okay, well, ask them to show you a picture of it. It was a it was an ambulance. It was a box.
It had a transport.
Yeah,
body,
it wasn't a truck. It was the people on the truck.
Yeah.
Now,
I agree.
Let's talk about this. It could be if you leave it the way some people who have been up here previously, not intentionally, if you leave it open-ended like that, it implies that if you didn't get on it, you wasn't applying yourself. Let's talk about the competition to get on it.
The rescue truck back in the day?
Yeah. I know. Put it this way. When it was disbanded in 96, in other words, there was a list to get on it. That list got torn up in 96 when they put rookies on it. Kelly Mack was on my shift. He got put on it. There's not I'm glad he got put on. Congratulations to him.
That's like him. Yeah.
But we tore the list up because we were all jockeying for position to get on it. And the battalion chiefs only used people on it that they could trust because you knew you were going to get a 5 on the rescue trip. It wasn't no guessing. So you couldn't put nobody up that was wishy-washy. Right. You had to be solid. So battalion chiefs not going to risk. So the same people were up there is what I'm saying. Right. And even if you got your certifications, and some of it you could get more easily then than now because we had the rescue college. You were freshman, sophomore, junior, senior.
Which was a big deal for
Yeah.
those that don't know. Durham hosted
Yeah.
the rescue college, which
Yeah.
was like a big deal.
Yeah, we
back
sold
in the day.
chicken and our barbecue was famous too. That's a side note. But by the way, it's the same recipe. You guys should know that recipe. It's the same recipe. One you use mustard, the other you use ketchup, but it's the same recipe. And they used to go crazy over that chicken, man. We used to make so much money. Oh my goodness. Jesus, fix it.
Who knows?
Oh yeah, but we also would put on a show. Scott Roberts, Todd Elliott, George Odell. Them jokers would rappel head first down and show off. I mean, we put on a show, man. It wasn't just food. We put on a show, and we became known as the fire department in the state where we were still aggressive, where you could actually get some hands on. Everybody else was going the other way. Just watching stuff burn. Everything's dangerous. My goodness. We believe that you put the fire out, you mitigate half of the problems.
That is still holds true today.
So we were
Many of that,
aggressive.
most of that.
We were always
That
aggressive.
logic checks out.
You understand? We were always boom. You get there and knock it down. And our battalion chiefs believed in that. They believed in changing our bottles. We calling for no help. You better get in there and knock that fire down. What you still standing out here for? That's how Chief Rigsby was. We call him the Colonel. Yeah. You can't talk about rescue. We're talking about Bill Towner. He trained all of us.
Shout out to Captain Towner.
Yeah, if you wouldn't have Carl Hamlin, I don't care how many classes he went to without Bill Towner. Mm-hmm. Bill Towner could teach, man. Yeah, I mean, he was the kind of guy that he could notice if a guy couldn't tie a knot right. He put him over to the side, and when he finished with him, this dude is tying like crazy. That's how he was. Most people don't know that about him. He don't get credit either. Bill Towner was an extraordinary teacher.
We gotta get Captain Towner, the other Captain Towner on next.
Yeah. Now, I was there.
We gotta get Bill in here.
Let me
Bill's
tell you
gotta
how they
come in
met.
here.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Captain Towner you could tell Captain Towner liked her because she sat next to me in the class, and every time he was teaching, he was looking at us smiling. Now, finally, one day we go to Sharon Harris, and Elaine asked Captain Seward, who was driving. She says, "Is it okay if I ride with Instructor Towner?" He had a blue Jeep Cherokee, and he said, "Sure, go ahead." And the rest is history. They've been together ever since.
That is so sweet. That is so sweet.
Yeah.
The blue Cherokee.
Yeah, they did it the proper way because, people going to fall in love. Anytime you have males and females together, people going to fall in love with each other. You had Bill and Cindy Atkins, It's just got to be done the right way, and that was done the right way. That's a beautiful story.
It is.
They put me with Elaine, by the way, because they knew I was a preacher. They want to make sure the guys didn't fall in love with her.
Was this at? Where was it?
In the academy.
In the academy,
She was
okay.
my partner. They partnered her up. Everybody had a partner.
okay.
So they put me with her.
Hold on. You were a preacher before you went to
the
fire department.
Yes. Not only was the reason why they used me as a preacher is because I had a reputation in Durham for preaching. So I wasn't just a guy they called a preacher. They knew me as a preacher. So I preached at, Chief Bibby was Catholic, but he went to black churches and he heard me preach. And Chief Thompson, I was at his church, Greater St. Paul, and I preached. So they had, and I'm not going to say what I did well or not. That's for them to judge. All I know is they knew me as an actual preacher. Okay. So then they started pushing me to do the other stuff, like the chaplain stuff. And as we got more into it, because when I started, we didn't really have emails.
Okay.
I used that flower fund to raise money at first because, they didn't let it come out of our check. So every time somebody gave money, we first got emails. So I'd say, thank you, Tim, so much. God bless you for that $20. Well, my man here hears it. He said, wait a minute, Rev, Tim gave you 20 for the flower fund. Here's 20 more. And that's how I raised the money for the flower fund.
So when did you become a chaplain? At what point in your career?
My grandmother passed in 99. That's how I remember. 1999.
Okay.
So 5 years in, I became the chaplain. Here's how I became the chaplain. My grandmother passed. Mm-hmm. And Chief Thompson had retired. And Chief Cooper had become the chief. Well, they didn't always give him a fair shot, and he knew it. But here's the greatness of Chief Cooper that most people don't know. He bought flowers to my house when I got back from my grandmother's funeral. The flowers were sitting there, and then when he saw me, he said, "Y'all don't have a flower fund in Winston-Salem. We got a flower fund, but don't tell them I told you. I'm gonna show you how to set it up, and I'm gonna fund it for you." He gave me the money to start it. He told me how to do it. And they gave me the credit. And so today I'm telling the truth because he told me don't tell nobody, but I'm telling it because right is right. And I don't know much longer God going to allow him to be here. And a lot of stuff is told about him that's not right. He started the flower fund and made me keep my mouth closed.
Well, you hear this?
Shout out to Chief Cooper.
Shout out to Chief Cooper for starting the flower fund.
Now, Chief Bibby started the chaplain program.
Okay.
And Chief Bibbit didn't ask you. Chief Bibbit told you. And I had so much respect for him. He said, look, Rev, this is what you're going to do. I said, yes, sir. And that's how the chaplain program got started. And it really was a raw program because I had to go. I remember going to Belt and buying the suit and getting my wife the soda emblem on it because, she's a crafts person. And I went to Chief Bibbit with it. And if he didn't like it, I'd get her to take it off and I'd go get another suit, return that suit. You see what I mean? Until I found one that he said, yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Use that. That's how raw it was.
Wow.
Then comp time. Let's talk about that. I had so much comp time from going to the hospital and all that they gave me a car. But brother, they told me I had to come I couldn't take the car home. I had to come here to admin to get it. Well, the hospital sometimes was closer from my house. When am I gonna come here and get the car for and then go to the hospital for sure?
Right.
So the car just sat there. They finally gave the car to Light Duty One.
Light duty one.
Yeah, for history's sake, if you don't know who Light Duty One was, that was Walt Umstead. He stayed on light duty so long.
It's a person.
Yeah. Walt Umstead was a firefighter who got on light duty, and he was so good at running errands and doing all that stuff on light duty that he stayed on light duty like forever, man. Like until he left, he was on light duty. We called him Light Duty One, but he ended up with the car that they gave me. You can't make this kind of stuff up. He ended up with the car that they gave me that I would never use.
Oh man. So
yeah, it's true,
man. So all right. So much to unpack here. So you pioneer the chaplain program, right? And then also the Love Fund, which you pioneered yourself,
right?
With the help of assistance.
Yeah, Charlie Brick gets credit. He had a friend named Prissy Allen, and she ran the flower shop over there on Main Street, and she gave us a flat rate. And she loved the fire department so much. She was giving us flowers that were much nicer than what we were paying for. She gave us a flat rate. So Prissy Allen and her husband took a loss allowing us to buy flowers from them. But Captain Britt was the one that did see, there was always people behind the scenes that helped me throughout my career. And I just want to thank them because that's if you get credit for stuff sometimes. And it's just not true.
Yeah.
Like, for example, all these years, and I'm going to tell you something else, this is going to shock a lot of people. And I know she's going to get mad when I tell it, but Elizabeth Pardon used to fund the flower fund too, and nobody knew. She was out here, she's a captain out here in admin, did a lot. It doesn't matter what she did. When people decide they don't like it, they don't like it. And I had I came in 94, I respected her. She was top notch, and she would make me meet her on the side of the station, and she'd write me a check for the flower fund, so nobody would know she gave it.
Wow.
Yeah. So people have certain ideas about certain people. They don't like them. They think they did this, and they don't know. They really don't. They don't know the truth. And when the truth comes out, sometime it'll shock you. So two people that they thought didn't care nothing about the people in the field cared the most, because they gave the most. See, the proof is in the pudding, not your words. I'm telling you, privately, these people would tell me, you say something if you want to. Take this money.
Wow.
That's deep, isn't it?
That's very
So be careful how quickly you judge somebody in the fire department that you think did. Sometimes it's more to it than you think.
You just don't know.
You just don't know sometimes. Yeah.
So in the chaplain program,
yeah,
like you've been through a lot of things, right? And we kind of got off your career, but we'll get back to it in a second.
That's enough, man. That's enough of it.
We gotta get to your captain. You was at Fort for a long time with Calvin. We gotta get into all that.
Yeah.
But this, since we're on a chaplain thing, right? Like I know, I've been to quite a few services that people eulogize and everything.
Right.
Is there one particular instance, or did the chaplain role ever get tough for you to the point where you're like, man, I don't know if I want to keep doing this? Like I know now you got Captain Pierce, and I know Chief Fields was chaplains at a point, and I think Brad Allison now, Captain Allison's the chaplain.
Cornbread.
Yeah, like was there a time? How did you decide to extend it out to other people? Was it just you were being overworked, or you just had so much?
No, in 05 I decided to start a church. And there's no way you can be a full-time pastor and work a full-time job and be the chaplain.
Okay.
So I picked Sean. Sean's pastor, he's a mega pastor. That I forgot his name. Now, don't get me to call it Greer or whatever his name is. J.D. Greer.
Okay.
Okay, he was his pastor. Back then, it was behind number 7. It was Summit Church.
Right.
And I was trying to run a top-notch chaplain program, and one of the requirements was everybody had to be ordained. So Phil Wiggins, he was the chaplain for the police department. So I went to Sean. I said, Sean, I want you have the demeanor, you love the Lord, and you profess you believe in Jesus Christ. I want somebody like that to take over for me. Mm-hmm. And I said, I need you to be ordained. So I went to Greer, who's a young pastor, and he didn't have no problem with it. So they ordained a bunch of people, including Sean and Phil Wiggins. And as soon as Sean got ordained, I gave it to him. He didn't want it. Sean's very humble. Mm-hmm. And he said, I'll do it, though. And he did it. He did it well. Yeah. So after me, when it branched out to other people, you had to talk to Sean about that.
Okay.
I just gave it to Sean. I just stay. I'm the kind of person, once I remove myself, I'm so influential that I try to my best, like when I left the fire department, just leave and get out the way. You know what I mean? Because if I'm around, I'm going to give you my opinion. I can't help it.
So, I mean, but you were still around. You were still at.
Yeah, I did. I filled in a gap for him when he needed me to back up, but I wanted people to, get to know him. But the saddest, the first time that we realized we needed a chaplain was when Todd Adam got sick. Captain Adam had ALS. And it manifested itself quickly. Like anybody that was working back then remembers if you was on B shift, he'd get on the radio and you could tell he had a slur in his voice. It sounded like he was drunk, And he went and got checked, and the next day, the news hit that he had ALS. And I remember all the firemen going over and putting a roof on his house. We was trying to make sure he was straight because we knew God was going to call him home. And so, unofficially, I was sent over to talk with him. And he couldn't talk. He listened, and you didn't want to. Yeah. You didn't want to stay too long. I learned from him to sit though. I learned to stop talking so much. That's if I taught chaplains anything, it says don't think you got to do anything. Sometimes you just got to be there. Like my house burned down. I didn't know my house was going to burn down when I retired. But the guys who you talking about paying it forward, the guys that I helped, they were all there. And some people that I didn't know even cared for me, they were there to help. I don't start naming names, but it changed my perspective. Right. Oh, I kind of knew I didn't know everything, but I found out that, you don't know him like you think you do. It takes something like that to happen in your life. I lost everything, man. Yeah, I lost everything. So I start from scratch. Now, that's the reason why I'm on the lake and in Caswell County and all of that. I decided I'm going to start from scratch. I talked to my wife. I said, you ready to go to the lake? She said, yeah. And that's how we ended up where we are.
Full circle.
Full circle, yeah.
No.
So,
So you started church. I mean, you were doing chaplain, all this stuff, right? Mm-hmm. While being a husband and a father.
Yeah, I raised 3 daughters. One's a school teacher, one's a psychiatrist, and the baby girl's studying to be an ophthalmologist. She's at NC State. I got one that graduated from the University of Southern California. She's my psychiatrist, and then my oldest daughter went to UNCG. She's a school teacher.
And how was that, like, that for people? We always tell people, this job can take a toll on just the family life balance can be hard. Yeah. How was it for you? And do you think, like, have your kids ever said anything to you as far as, like, it was like?
No, I had an extraordinary wife.
Okay.
Let me say to you, gentlemen, because some of y'all are apprehensive if you're thinking about being a firefighter. I'm going to give you this advice. A woman is, if you're worried about your woman cheating on you, et cetera, she can do that in 24 minutes, just as much as she can do it in 24 hours. It is not how much you work. It's the quality of the woman that you marry. And for females, it's the same thing. Whoever your partner is, if you can't trust them, you can't trust them. The fire service don't let that be a deterrent not to be a firefighter if that's something you want to do. Because I hear that a lot. Man, I can't work that many hours. Oh, my goodness. You don't know what I never wanted to go 9 to 5. Some people are different. And I was a preacher, but I love working 20. I like having long periods of time off at a time. Mm-hmm. So I had an extraordinary wife.
Right.
So I don't have the same. You had to ask somebody who had a lot of struggles. My home life was solid. But, we Christians, we trust in the Lord.
Yeah.
I mean, so that makes a difference.
Everybody's path is different.
Yeah.
That's why I wanted to know your opinion. Because I get everybody in. I ask everybody, what was your ups and what was your downs in the fire service?
My downs are personal, like getting moved and being some of the. Let me say this: if you work in the fire department long enough, I keep it general. I don't want to call no names. There's a stench of hypocrisy that you'll get to the point where you can't stand. That makes sense.
Okay, gotcha.
And I'll leave it coded like that. It means the people you work with end up, sometimes they go past you and they don't act the way you thought they were going to act. Now, some of it's territorial. You in charge, you got to make decisions sometimes that are not popular. I'm not talking about that. Mm-hmm. I'm talking about we agree philosophically on something. Your whole philosophy changes once you get a couple of bugles. Nah. That's what I mean by hypocrisy. And you look, I helped a lot of people too. I trained 40 some relief drivers. If I stopped counting at 40 some. And I helped a lot of people study for captain. And Captain Mack asked me one day when I was at 3. He said, "Now what are you gonna do if all of them make captain? You don't?" I said, "I'm gonna be happy for them." He said, "Then proceed. You're not at the point yet where you're gonna get tired of babies telling you what to do. But there comes a point in your career where you realize it's time to go." I heard Captain Boone say it was because he was getting older. I wasn't old. I was still running 3.5 miles. In fact, I'm still in good shape. Mm-hmm. I left here strong. I'm still. I don't
you
have,
look. You look.
Yeah,
good.
I don't have no. I'm not
good.
bragging. I'm not saying that to brag. I'm just saying not everybody leaves because of physical. I ain't had no physical problem. They put me out the pasture. That was on the leadership to decide to put me at slow station. I never said I wanted to. All I'm saying is the rescue truck that I envisioned as the number one truck, you're right. It was the truck that spied. That's why I had a list of people trying to get on it. Because they went to every fire. You got to understand, they went to everything. Mm-hmm. And those jokers were so slick, they be like, "Man, I see something. Let me have the nozzle." You mess up and give them the nozzle. They did the rescue work and they get to fight fire too because you so stupid you gave them the nozzle. So we used to teach that. We used to teach our relief drivers. First thing we tell a relief driver. In our case, we used to give them names. If Fogg asks you for that nozzle, tell him no. Yeah. If Greg McGee tell you, hand him the nozzle right quick. That's how they do it. They catch it and distract you. "Oh, man, Tim, let me see the nozzle right quick. I see something." They gone. Yeah. And you stand there looking like a fool.
I pulled that move a couple times. But as a rookie, that's what they said. They said, "Don't ever give up your nozzle. You better sit on that thing. You masking up, you better sit on that thing.
That rescue truck was
Don't put that nozzle down." Because I know, and I heard stories.
I got a question because I'm not a firefighter. In what situation would somebody be coming up to you on a fire and asking for your nozzle?
Does it be like
when does that happen?
When the rescue truck on every fire because they got there either before you or the same time you did. Now this is amazing too. Mm-hmm. We all started at the same point. That's how fast those guys knew streets. So let's talk about this. This is the secret to responding. There's Travis setting up these perfect circles and all that. That's technology. Yeah. I'm not knocking Travis, but that ain't what it used to be. Yeah. Let me teach you something. Durham is split by 2 streets. Did you know that? North-south is Roxborough Street all the way, right? Yeah. So what's east-west? Hillsborough. Okay. Yeah, it starts off at 70, then it turns into Hillsborough Road, then it turns into Main Street, goes all the way through town, then it turns to Miami Boulevard and goes all the way out. Okay. That's the east-west split. The south-north split or the north-south split is Roxborough Road. Yep. But there's one caveat. If you study street classes, everybody knows, old school knows this. When you get to Farthing Street, it comes over a block, goes down and comes back over, then goes out of the city. For some reason, we don't know why. Nobody ever knew why. So if you really wanted to be technical about it, the split goes from Roxborough Road all the way till you get to Farthing Street on the other side of the 85. Mm-hmm. Then it comes over a block, goes down and back over, then out to the county. But that's how you learn your streets. So if you divided the city in half, the rescue truck, this is how deep it was. All of that was their district. And so we always looked at the loop as like something that catapulted them into where they wanted to go. That's how Engine 1 and Rescue 1 always got there first. Because if you hit the loop, you're just going to hit one of those streets off the loop and you was going to be there.
Station 1 is a great centrally located station.
Yeah, so everybody else got to turn right, stop, turn left. You see what I mean? See the difference? If you in something that spins you around and you take a straight line somewhere, and I got to stop at the corner, then turn right, go down, stop again, you're going to beat me. And that's how they beat everybody. Yeah. That's the truth.
It's clutch.
But that rescue truck was different. It'll never be that way again. Never.
To answer your question also, Patrick, where I've been able and where I've seen it happen is you might be somewhere in another room pulling ceiling or something. Right. And you be like, hey, I got a hot spot over here. Give me the nozzle. And once you get that nozzle up, you never getting it back. Right. Now, never get it back.
But that's more like salvage and overhaul. Now, what I'm talking about is you in the heart of the fire. And
I'm saying like you pulling ceiling because it's in the attic, right?
Right.
You pulling ceiling. You're like, oh, I got the fire over here. Hand it to me real quick because you already in position. They gonna give it up. young firefighters will give it up because one, you got the rank over, you got the time, and then once you give it to them, you just keep it. Oh, I'm gonna go up here. I got it. I'm good.
You remember You remember Captain Ralston? We called him Captain Ward.
I remember. Yeah, he was going before, but he used to always come out of station.
Man, Captain Ralston was the man. Yeah, you know, if anytime a man can get shot, it's keep going. Because later on when he retired, he got shot.
Yeah,
you know that story?
He came out station 2 a couple times.
And then you had Tony Mangum on my shift. He was like James Dean. Oh man, I wish you could have seen Tony Mangum. Everybody,
he was like a rescue guru.
Everybody wanted to be Tony Mangum. Man, he was so cool. That rescue truck would pull back in the bay.
Yeah,
and he'd hop off and have his jacket hanging off with his collar up like that. He just nod at you like that. I'm only gonna be here a few minutes, Rev, and then I'm gonna be gone again. As soon as he say again, bam, he take off again. Right. Man, I loved it, man. What you talking about? Those were the days, man.
It was.
Oh,
hey, man. So, all right, you was on 4 for a while.
Yeah.
How long were you on engine 4 for?
I didn't stay but a minute. I stayed up there about a year. Then I got moved to Ladder 1. From Ladder 1, they did the switcheroo. The world famous switcheroo caused so much animosity. They took hazmat and moved that to Station 1. No, to Station 3. They moved everybody from Station 3 to Station 1. So I ended up driving for Pascal. Mm-hmm. So let's tell this story right quick. There was 4 relief drivers from 95 to 98. So that Academy number 9 that always bragging about they're so great.
The best academy ever.
The reason why they feel like they're so great is because we got held up. So by the time we were eligible for driver, they were too. That makes sense. Okay. Number 2, we had 4 relief drivers and they worked the daylights out of us. So I ended up driving for Pascal by default. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know, I don't know why they picked me, but they did. I started training relief driver. I trained myself right to the back of the seat. I literally trained Greg Farrell. They put Greg Farrell in my acting spot and put me on the back. You can't make this kind of stuff up. But I kept on training people anyway. It didn't bother me that much. It didn't take but a minute, and I started driving engine 1. So I went from 6 to 4, from 4 to 1. Then I pretty much stayed at, I went from 3 to back to 1. And then I drove engine 1 for 7 years for Pascal. Then I went to 10. Then I went to number 6, where I learned the most about economics from Derek Abney. Brilliant man.
Shout out to Captain Abney.
I had already learned the basic stuff, but he taught me so much about life. Mm-hmm. There was guys like Abney, Charles Sanford, Jay Harder. You don't even know Jay Harder.
I don't know.
These guys were brilliant businessmen. Frank DeLucia was a businessman, brilliant. So I learned, like, at year 15, let me give you some advice, and you too. If you're in the fire department and you know you're going to retire in 15 years, you better have a 15-year mortgage. You understand? It should be no more than, go look at your mortgage and make sure it's 15 years. Because you won't have any problems when you retire. People worry about the 401k and all that. That's a simple thing you can do. Just look at how many more years you're going to stay here and make sure by the time you retire, you own your house. That's huge. You follow me? I learned that from Frank DeLucia. I learned it from Charles Sanford. These guys were brilliant, man. So I went to 6. Then I went to 12, where I made captain. Then I stayed at 12. Then I trained myself out of there. So there were no relief drivers. Nobody knew the new math. That's when the new math came in. We went from 2 times Q squared times length to a coefficient times 2 squared times length. You understand? So people, it was really, you had to unlearn a lot, but people weren't willing to do it. And I had learned the new math. So I trained everybody at 12, and Janetta rewarded me by moving me to 4. So I stayed 4 years at 4. Now, the sad part is we had developed a rapport with the community that they didn't have. Like the W.D. Hill visit stopped. Juan DeShazo started, him and Leon Justice. And you know, Leon and Juan are made from different dust. They ain't made from the same dust. Leon used to run with me at night, 5 miles a night. He was in his 50s then.
Sheesh.
Yeah. So these guys were different. Juan DeShazo was another one. You talk about Don. Everything Don knows is from Juan.
Yeah. He used to talk about how he terrorized them.
Juan don't get no credit. Juan was one with a few African Americans on the rescue truck. Derek Abney and Juan DeShazo. The list is short. I'm probably forgetting 1 or 2, but those are 2 I saw up there all the time. And that's what happened. So after that, I went to 2 and I stayed at 2 till I went to 7. That was just, they knew I was about to go. They put me at 7, and then I ended up at 14 for about a year, and I left. That's it. That's my whole career.
And most people know, with your captain relationship, captain is only as good as his driver.
I had the best driver in the city.
Shout him out. Go ahead and shout him out.
Calvin Harris.
I seen him the other day. He surprised me.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting him to have hair.
Yeah, man. He got a beard.
He got a beard.
It's two guys that mentored me that were my contemporaries. That was Squirrel
Shout out to Love.
and Calvin Harris. Because Squirrel took me under the wing as rookies, and I used to go to Townsville and learn all that we were doing in the fire academy, so I wouldn't look like a fool. It was because of Squirrel. So, you know, Squirrel was experienced. Squirrel dumbed it down. He played dumb. Brilliant guy. My best friend to this day. And Calvin's my best friend. Now, we can't talk about drivers without talking about Ken Smart.
Ken Smart,
If
awesome.
you want to be a driver,
Yes.
ask anybody about Ken Smart.
I always thought he should have been a captain.
That was his choice.
Kenny Wong, I know. Yeah, he didn't want to go up for it. So, real quick, because we got to talk, and you told us a lot of history. I'm gonna have to go back and listen to this thing a couple times to catch everything.
Yeah, that's enough. You should have me back for part 2. How about that?
I can.
The hour's long.
We will, but I just want the biggest lesson you learned from the fire service, or while you were in the fire service.
Oh, now, while I was in the fire service, I believe, as you said, it was by fate. I believe in that. I believe God had a mission for me in life, and the fire service was it. I have no doubt. People say, "Oh, I believe I was where I was supposed to be," and I believe it was because I had to learn a lot, and I had a lot to teach. But I learned more than I taught. I learned so much from people, and listen, it has helped me now that I'm retired. I live a good life because of the advice I got. Let's give shout out to DY and Russ Castle and Gary Pass and all that managed the MPDA so well.
Shout out to the MPDA. And
Yeah,
DY
all of those things that we take for granted, somebody did that. Somebody managed it. And let me say to whoever's running in there, I don't know. Don't y'all be so rigid with it now that a guy who left here or a girl that left here has a spot in their life where they might be a day or two late and you kick them off. Don't do that. If a person's late, let's do like we traditionally did. And I'm just telling them, they ain't gonna do what I say anyway, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Just have a little discretion when it comes to those who left here that are still trying to be in the MPDA. I know what the rule says, but call them, reach out to them. And if you're not willing to do that, give the position to somebody else that will. So you can't take the human part. This is what I learned from the fire service.
Okay.
You can't always use policy. You got to use dignity and integrity. This is what I learned from the fire service. There are gonna be times where you break the rules for what's right, but you didn't hear me say that.
Right.
Policy can't dictate human nature. What you learn from the fire department is how to live with everybody. If you're black, you learn that life ain't what you thought it was. If you're white, you learn that life ain't what you thought it was. When you put us all together, and we eat meals together, and we sleep together, and talk together, and love one another, look after one another, it carries over after you're gone. Steve was at my house the other day. There's not a day that goes by that I probably don't talk to a fireman, and there's not a couple of days that go by that one is not at my house either talking, we looking at the water, talking, working things out, praying together, eating together, and sometimes they helping me fix stuff. Let's just be real.
Yeah.
It's good to have people who can fix stuff too, But we have relationships that gonna last a lifetime. Where else can you meet people that become your family? You understand? Yeah. And some people don't want to leave here. They don't want to admit it. Without this fire department, they have no family. So you got a couple of people, they lie to you and say, well, I'm trying to wait on the next raise and all that. As the older you get, time is more valuable than money. When you're young, you're on the upcome. You want money, money, money. But you only have so much time left on this earth. So the older you get, you begin to realize time is more valuable than money. And there are some people, when they leave here, they have no connections. You see? So make sure you treat people right now so you can have friends when you're gone. That's my advice. That's what I learned from the fire department in 30 years.
That is solid advice. You said you started what drew you to the fire service was just the willingness of those guys to come and help you out when you're having car trouble.
You see that many people help a stranger. Remember the Bible says nothing more. God is pleased. No, let me put it in modern day language. Nothing pleases God more than when you help a stranger. You expected to help your brother. You know him. Mm-hmm. But a stranger. You follow? Right. That really touched me.
Now, I got one more question for you. Mm-hmm. What advice would you give to someone who is trying to get in, our young people?
Excellence always overcomes prejudice or racism. Even if you're black, because now we got this thing. Racism used to be something that the minorities had a handle on, but now we got the majority, the white people saying they being discriminated against as well. And sometimes they got a point. So if you feel that way, if you feel like you're being mistreated, if you feel like you're not getting a fair shake, if you feel like life is not going your way, remember excellence. That's my advice to anybody. Always be excellent. Do well at whatever you do. It'll trump any kind of racism. If you know your job, I don't care how much you like that. If you know your job, you know your job. So be the minimum standard for any person ought to be to know your craft. And lastly, this ain't a part-time job. I've said this once, I've said it 1,000 times. If you're looking for a part-time job, go to McDonald's. Because if you mess up a burger, you're not going to die. You understand what I mean? Well, if you're going to be a fireman, you got to be all in. You can't stick your toe in the water. You got to jump all the way in the water. Or else stay out. Do us all a favor. Please. Where the camera at?
Right here.
Let me take this hat out. Please, this is a public service message from T.N. Smith. If you can't do it all the way, don't do it at all. God bless you.
Go all in or don't do it at all.
That's
love
my
it.
advice.
I love it. Cat Smith, we're going to have to do a part 2 with you too, man. It's just too much to talk about. I do appreciate you coming out. Real quick, you're a pastor. You have a congregation. Do you want to shout out your church?
Yeah, the Rescue Church. Everybody know where it is. If you don't, just ask anybody. Ask 2 people. Somebody going to tell you where we are. Avondale Drive. 1201 Avondale Drive, right there at the cul-de-sac. Come on in, 10 a.m., but don't be late, because by 11:15, we going home.
I like it. Well, look, do you have any questions for me?
I'm proud of you, son.
I appreciate it.
I'm going to leave it at that. I'm mighty proud of you.
I appreciate
I like what
that.
you're doing. It's very positive. I always knew. I'm going to tell you like my uncle told me when he wanted to borrow $1. Boy, I always knew you was going to be something, boy.
Hey, look.
I'm mighty proud of you. You keep on doing what you're doing. God bless you and your family. Yeah?
Thank you.
Give
Likewise.
my love to your wife and your children.
Likewise. I really mean that. I mean that. I appreciate that.
God bless you. I'm proud of you. And young man, it's always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure. You know, you were one of the first people in the fire department I met.
Yes, indeed. I remember you when you were starting. Yeah, you still
Well,
holding
Captain
on.
Tanner, your academy mate, she was my first boss.
Yeah, that's right.
A great boss.
That's
and
right.
you were about to retire, so she took me over there and said, hey, this is a real special dude. We need to make a video for him.
That's a lane for you. Yeah.
Patrick, you got any other questions for us or anything for us?
Yeah, anybody that listened and has been listening and has enjoyed us, take a couple seconds here to like, subscribe, give us some 5 stars, leave us a review. All those things really help us grow the podcast. We'd like to, really take it just outside of the Durham bubble. I mean, it'd be cool to go a little bit farther. So if you want to help us out, like, subscribe, follow, YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Hit us up on all 3. We enjoy doing this. So thank you all for your work. Rev, thanks for coming in. Tim, I'll let you take it out.
This was a wonderful episode. Got a lot of history. This is the legendary, incomparable Captain Terence Rev Smith. And this has been another episode of Bull City Bravest. Please like and share. And that's it. We're signing off.